So every once in a while, I get to do a quick live stream. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Josh, when we have the opportunity to work with somebody who I think has some pretty brilliant ideas that I think are important for a general small business owner audience, love to do a quick live stream. So again, thank you so much for watching. Now, if you're watching this live, please give me a like, thumbs up, or comment and just say, hey, Josh, happy Friday or something like that. That's all I ask in return. There's nothing for sale here. There never is. Mainly, I just want to try to share some valuable information. Ryan C. Weiss, you're one of my friends now. You are one of the guys I go to when it comes to all things analytics, optics, processes. So these are, well, I'll ask you to describe, like when I'm talking about those concepts, what that is within a company. But Ryan, happy Friday to you.
Happy Friday, Josh, and thank you so much for having me on. I love the passion and energy, and as we've connected over the last years or whatever, I'm excited to be here, and I think we've got some great content to share. Like you said, I love helping people to get clarity and get alignment. And when you talk about optics, that's what it's all about. It's clarity, alignment, and focus. So.
Yeah, I think most folks that we have conversations with too, like we tend to kind of nerd out on this stuff. And Ryan, one thing I love is that you're so passionate about something that some people are like, how do you get passionate about analytics? Well, we're about to show you how and why to become so passionate about analytics, because this is going to improve your life by substantial margins. Again, even if you're baby brand new in business, we're going to try to keep everything we talk about relevant to you as you're thinking about how you're building this long term, how much time this is going to save you, how much awareness you're going to be having about everything going on in your company. And let me tell you, Ryan, that is just such a stress when we find something that's like, oh man, it's like, someone, I had an assistant or someone in the team that was doing something that, man, I really wish we would have known that a lot longer ago. When we think about maybe, how much we spent and, operational budget on that, and that just was not really effective or helpful for operations. I'm going to get into that. One last final note for our friend. If you're watching this afterwards, totally cool. Comment, like below, say, hey, Josh, thanks. Just checking in. I really, really appreciate it. And I do appreciate the comments in the past too, which is why I keep doing this. These are always free and they're always non-salesy. But Ryan, we always try to give away free gifts though. And so I'm just going to start. Yeah, I'm going to start right up at the top. Let me show you this really quick. I'll put this on the screen. Let's see this. So if I go, sorry, they changed the things around on me here. Here we go. So here is, yeah. So this book right here, you'll see this. It's opticsbook.com. And Ryan, this is your book that's going to be coming out. Do you want to just really quick, we'll talk about this just in case anyone's like, hey, is there something, where do I go from here? Go grab this book. But Ryan, it's not out yet, right?
This one is not out yet. So I wrote my first book. I published my first book about a year and a half ago, maybe, and had some great success with it. But as our software platform and as our system, the optics system that we've created, as that evolved, I realized there was really this need for this second book to help folks in companies really of all sizes to get the basics of how do you find clarity, how do you find alignment, how do you get focused, because it doesn't matter the size of your business, the amount of energy that gets wasted in organizations or even in personal solopreneurs when we're looking at getting distracted by so many things. And so this concept of optics has evolved, and this book is launching early next year. We've already got the first drafts and revisions going back and forth, and I'm super excited about what it is and how it's working, and what it's looking like. So we're excited to be launching that next year. So if people go to opticsbook.com, they're going to be able to put in just an email address. We'll be able to get you on our list. So and make sure that you get a copy of the optics book as soon as it comes out, and maybe even pre-release. So we're going to make sure that people are getting those and learning more about the topics we're going to be talking about today. And as you said, this is a free item for the people who are watching your show and learning about it. So.
Yeah. All right. So Ryan, let's kind of start with some definitions here. Let's talk about three things that I know, three words that I see often in your vocabulary, right? There's analytics, there's processes, and then of course optics. Do you mind? And there may be some other major terms that you use. Do you mind maybe just kind of starting with some definitions? And then, by the way, I would assume that almost everyone is using Google Analytics. We're going to be talking about that. So if you want to go ahead and log into your analytics right now, it's likely, Ryan, I think you may make mention to some things, or we'll kind of go through some, basically how to trick out your analytics. But Ryan, do you want to kind of go and maybe set some definitions for us first?
Yeah, sure. So let me start with the definition of this word optics. And the word optics actually has two definitions. And I stumbled on this a few years ago. I was camping and I was out for a walk, and I was thinking, how is this evolving and what's this turning into? And the word optics has two definitions in the dictionary. One of them is the study of light, the study of the behaviors of light. It's a very technical thing. If you think about going to an optometrist or an optician, if you think about lasers and focus and all of the things you might have learned in physics class. I'm a geek, right? I was a chemist and a finance and a STEM major back in the day. So it has this very technical definition. And when you think about that word, clarity and focus and alignment, those are all things that are relevant to the technical side. But there's a second definition of the word optics, and that is the perception of people, the optics of a situation. And one of the things I've become so passionate about, Josh, is this alignment of people and process. Because it's one thing, you can have the right great technical things and great technical solutions and great analytics, great data, great ideas and technical things. But if people don't understand those things, if people don't understand or perceive the value in them, then it's useless. And this is what really drew me to this word optics, because it's the alignment of people and process that come together to enable your organization to thrive. Because even if you're a solopreneur, you also have customers and you have suppliers and you might have a VA, or you might have, right? It's the alignment of people and the process, or the technical stuff that come together. And then, so for some folks, that turns in very much goes down the path of data analytics and what can I learn from my data and where do I go with this, dashboards and things like that. But I really, like, my core focus, my energy is around how do we get people to have simple processes that they can follow that enable them to perform. And how can we have good processes that are easy to follow for the people to actually execute? Because nobody wants to read a 36 chapter manual on the processes that they're supposed to follow. And so that's really what this alignment all comes down to. And then analytics enables that along the way. Does that make sense? Did I get that?
Yeah, absolutely. I apologize. I'm like checking us out. It's always, I'm getting into live stream inception there for just a second. By the way, I just wanted to thank you so much for looks like Craig Andrews. Clarity is such a game changer. Ryan, can we talk about why this is so critical for every single, even if you're baby brand new in business, why you need to start tracking and mapping and watching things, and just like how critical this is. Like, I never forget, I had one person say, listen, if you're not making decisions based on data and you don't have access to real-time data, what are you making your decisions on? Some magic Smurf berries and an 8-ball? I mean, it's like, that you got to have the numbers in front of you. It is not enough. I'll share my perspective on this, and I'd love your take on this, right? Our perceptions are just never going to be accurate. I don't care how brilliant of a business owner or leader you think you are, you're off. You don't have the ability to be objective without the data. You're going to have subjective experiences and ideas, right? And so similarly, Ryan, when I have conversations with my top level leaders in the organization, I want their perspective. I'm like, you are seeing what I'm not seeing. I'm seeing what you don't see, but together we need to bring all this observation together. But more importantly than that, we need to make sure that our bias, or we see this a lot, I think, with founders and business owners, our great optimistic attitude is keeping us doing bad activity. And like, you got to know that stuff. I mean, listen, if you want to wait 6 months to realize something, that's an option. Or would you like to know this data in the next 6 days or 6 weeks versus 6 months? And that's my perspective, Ryan, of like why this is so critical. And I mean, do you want to make decisions quickly, or do you want to make decisions over many, many months or years? That's kind of how I see this.
Oh, absolutely. And I've had a long career of analyzing processes, people, and data, and bringing those three things together. And one of the things that we find is that people without process, or people without process and data, people without those things get frustrated because the results don't show what they're trying to get. On the other hand, processes or data without people is most often wasted. So sort of the tagline I've come up with is process, data, right? Without people is wasted. People without process and data are frustrated. They get frustrated. And as you think about the parallel of those sort of two paths that are happening there, those are also two approaches that you can take with data. And the one approach being, we could go out and do a bunch of data mining and just say, can the data tell us something that we don't already know, or that might surprise us? And just had a client a week ago where we sat down and looked at some analytics, and all the decisions that they thought their team was making based on assumptions that they had, they really weren't. The data was all over the place, and that was really eye-opening for them. So you could sometimes just take the data and say, what is the data speaking to us? The other path, and you've referred to this in that, is you need to have the human experience. You need to have people thinking about what are the implications. And that's a big part of what our optics process and optics system helps people to do, is line out, what does your customer journey map look like? For example, with marketing to sales to operations, what does that customer journey map look like?
Yeah.
What does it need to be successful? What are the outputs? How does that all interact? And then we talk about quality, value, and speed. So QVS, every process, everything you're doing, from entrepreneur all the way to multi-billion-dollar organizations that we work with, all along the way, there's this, every process needs to have some measure of quality or output of quality. It needs some value or cost metric or analysis, and it needs some type of speed or timeliness. So we call this QVS, quality, value, and speed. And we build a lot of our outputs and enabling people with that. And then we have the ARM, accountable, responsible matrix, because even with good data, even with a good process, if you don't have people accountable and responsible for doing things, taking actions, doing what they're, then it also becomes useless. So our system is really not just about the data, but also a way of walking you through the process, getting that alignment, getting that accountability, getting that getting a simple way of viewing quality, value, and speed for your system. And an entrepreneur, I mean, we use it for our own business as we've been scaling and growing along the way. And we're using our own system to help us scale and grow. And so that's what it's evolved from.
Yeah. So let's talk about some practical examples here. So obviously you can use this for marketing, right? I mean, you better be, and marketing is the one where it really hurts. Well, listen, a lot of these things will really hurt if you're not tracking and making very immediate decisions, right? So marketing and sales, obviously, but operations so critical, especially when we think about, and Ryan, here's our biggest challenge right now that we're really focused on is ensuring our clients' success, because we know what our standard is, but now it's like we're bringing in this this person that has they can go random on us. They can go rogue on us. They can go off the reservation. Like there's a lot of variability. It's like, herding cats sometimes in working with clients because they're not used to the way that you've been doing it for years and years and years. So one of the biggest things that we are tracking and trying to be incredibly proactive on is anticipating when a client makes mistakes, or if they start to give indications they're going off track a little bit. We want to catch that quickly, because if they do that, they're not going to get the results. And when they don't get the results, then guess what? We lose them as a client. Right. And so that's our biggest. Can you give me maybe some thoughts on that, like how we can adapt some smarter tracking systems and, monitoring and, so that we can maybe protect ourselves in that. And again, I think, Ryan, another thing that people are thinking about, it's like, well, I use Thinkific, or I use, whatever, Mighty Networks, I use whatever. And they start listing off all these platforms. We're talking about is address that too, right?
Yeah.
People sometimes think, well, I've got a platform and I don't think that this applies to me.
Yeah, absolutely. This is what we do, what we help clients with is really, I'll say, system agnostic, if you will. The system that we take you through, the process we take you through of the optics system is a 5-step process that I literally have clients that we've helped when they've implemented a new technology, they've implemented a new ERP system, a new inventory management system, a new marketing platform, and it's not working the way they expected it to. And our goal is to, in these 5 steps, go, what's your purpose, scope, and gaps? What's the problem? Why are we having this conversation? For example, I had an owner of a rental agency about 5 years ago. She called me and she said, Ryan, I don't know where my inventory is, and I heard you can help. This is essentially the distilled down version of it. And she's become a client, and we've got dashboards for her built now and clarity. But it didn't start necessarily with data. What it started first with was, all right, so why are we doing this? What's the scope of this? What are the gaps? What's the pain? And for people to start with that and start understanding that leads them then into this clarity of some key process steps and that alignment and identification of inputs and outputs. And then that leads into, so there's these steps we take folks through, and people will be able to read through those steps and do it themselves with the book when it comes out. But the as you think about this and how do we bring people back on track, I've got a quick story. I was at a technology conference last week, and one of my largest clients, been working with them for about 3 years. He was there, and I took him off to the side and I just said, hey, Rick, like, we've been documenting these processes. We've been helping you align and stuff. Like, give me the straight answer. Like, we've been doing this for 3 years. Are you using it? How's it impacting your job? How's it changing the way you're doing things? And he said, Ryan, I was your biggest skeptic when we first started. And he said, but now I find that there's so much clarity when another department or a customer or somebody says, oh, why isn't this working? We pull up the optics system of what we've created and we say, look, this is what we needed from you. This is what you need from us. This is how these things link together. And that clarity has made his job so much better. And that's one of those things that warms your heart as a person who founded and developed this system is when a customer looks you in the eyes and says, I was skeptical, but this has changed the way I do my job. And this has changed, and this is how it's made it better. And that's what gets me excited is that's the example of like customers sometimes get off track. Other employees sometimes get off track. There's finger pointing and frustration that sometimes happens. And when you could come back to that clarity of what are the inputs, what are the outputs, who are the suppliers and customers, what's our core process, just bring that back together to a logical sequence. And then we can back it up with data. It makes it even, explodes it out. So
yeah. So let's start talking about some tactical things that people can do right now. And again, I want you to think about, and again, I'm just going to put one final bug in your brain, or to our friend that's watching us or listening to us right now. If you could track everything that your potential customers are doing, everything that your clients are doing, everything work related, operations related to tracking what your employees are doing. I have ethical things, ideas about that, right? And for privacy and that sort of thing. But, to the extent that it's appropriate for, the success of your company, if you could track and then set rules and filters, and you could set if then, like if a client does this, but not that, and that in that span of time at this time of day, trigger this. Like, how amazing could that be? I mean, that's basically the power that you have. And so, Ryan, maybe we could talk just a quick, because again, I think analytics, Google Analytics is a great place to start, but most people don't trick out their analytics. Do you mind? I'm going to share, I think we're going to share your screen here.
Yeah. Yep. I think
let me go to this, and here is, I think you're going to share with us kind of a basic, you may have to
dashboard. This is
I can't see it right now. It's black right now. So I don't know if you want to,
I probably have to open it. Hold on. Let me make sure here.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, something happened. There we go. Okay.
All right. Outstanding.
What are we looking at right here? This isn't the standard analytics dashboard
this
here,
this is not the standard Google Google Analytics dashboard. What this is it's actually, this is Microsoft's version of it. We've got our team is working in Google Data, Google Analytics, Google Studio, and also in Power BI. And the evolution of what's going on right now in the data and analytics industry and AI and those types of things is just so powerful. And as our team, and by the way, I mean, I started recruiting folks away from an old employer of mine. I hope that doesn't get me in too much trouble to say. But I used to manage a couple hundred people.
Ryan, for legal, we'll say unintentionally. We'll say unintentionally.
Not directly.
For legal reasons.
Most of them have moved on to other roles.
Yes, right. Yeah.
It was 10 years ago, so most of those people are not. I'm generally not that concerned about, because I'm not directly recruited. But I got to know this huge team of folks, and that network just started expanding. And as we look at the kind of the view of what the data analytics industry, what's going on there is it's really fascinating to see. And then when you look at the AI that's been happening over and evolution has been happening over the past year, Microsoft Copilot and the natural or common language ability to go into a Power BI dashboard and literally ask questions like, what's the trend that you're seeing in this? And you could just type that in with your data to start getting responses. So, I think we're all sort of used to doing those types of things with Google or whatever, what's this trend, and getting an article or something from the web. But what people are starting to be enabled to do is to take it to that next step of putting your own data in, linking to your Google Analytics, linking to other things, and with that, enabling you to ask those types of questions and get responses. So the dashboard that our team is creating for everybody from rental agencies to other organizations, and the ability to filter out by year or things like that. Those I guess I went back too far in history, so there's no data in this one. But as examples, you can the stuff that you can do with these dashboards and pull it together is really, really quite impressive. So so that's one of the things that is really exciting me today is just how the world is changing as it comes to data analytics. And but you always have to do it. And I'm going to take it back to a more basic thing for a moment. You always have to do this in the context of what's important. So just doing data analytics for the sake of doing data analytics, if you don't know what it's telling you and you don't know what inputs you need to put in to get the answer that you're looking for, then you may find yourself just ending up just spending a lot of time just doing stuff. And sometimes data analytics can get a bad rap for that reason. So taking it, our system, the way I help clients go through this is first outline what are those questions that you have. What are the questions you want to solve? What does the SIPOC look like that your core process, your customer journey map is? And that then enables folks to go through. Yeah.
Ryan, let me pause you right there, because I think that that's actually a great action item for someone that's watching us right now. That's a great first step. Is to actually take some time and say, what are the most important things? If I could know anything about the activity that's going on within my organization, whether that's, again, sales, a client engagement or internal operations, that sort of thing, and just actually start with a list. Doesn't that sound like I think that would be a fun exercise to come in and say, here are 8 things, Ryan. And imagine if you were having a client conversation and they're coming in, right? And I know you work, by the way, Ryan, I'll just say, in addition to your book and all the free stuff that you do, you have group programs. You obviously work with lots of high value clients, all the way up to, multi-billion-dollar organizations, but all the way down to, pre-revenue, early stage startups, and you're able to kind of meet them where they are. But how valuable would that be if a client comes in already knowing 6 to 8 things, like, man, if we could get a handle on this data, that would be so valuable for us just from a competition standpoint. I know we had, a commenter on LinkedIn as well saying, just, man, how critical this would be. And if you're flummoxed by the fact that you're, perceived or whatever competition always seems to be beating you, well, maybe they're aware of things that you are just not aware of. Anyway, that's a lot I wanted to shove in there, Ryan. Maybe think about, that clarity over what we want to know.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly where you should start. And so it's one thing to talk about fancy dashboards and all these things, but the first step of our process is to talk about your purpose, scope, and gaps, and then to create something called a SIPOC. And I know that's a wonky acronym. But when we do that, what it's doing is it's the P stands for process. That's the middle part. The I and the O, so SIPOC, the I and the O are inputs and outputs, and the S and the C are suppliers and customers. And this is an amazing framework. This is something that if folks contact us, or we can send a template that you could start outlining. What are the inputs and outputs? What are the key process steps? Who are the suppliers? Who do I get it from? Who needs it from me? And that template becomes a really powerful framework. I've done this template hundreds and hundreds of times over the past 15, 20 years of my career, with everybody from piano teachers to giant aluminum and paper and chemical manufacturers.
Ryan, a piano teacher can use optics?
I tell you what, I would tell you, that was actually the moment in my life when I realized that this was something that was really powerful. Is my sister-in-law about 20 years ago. So I'm going to have to pay her now because you brought this up. But she's going to take credit. 20 years ago, when I created a SciPoc with her about, she asked me what I was doing for work. And I was like, could I explain manufacturing and chemical industry and all that? Like, she might get really bored. I said, tell me what you do, what you're passionate about, and let's walk through the process. And that was the moment when I realized how powerful the alignment of people and process and walking through these steps, looking for the bottlenecks in a very, very simple framework. So I know we kind of showed some dazzling graphs and charts and stuff, but the simple framework is just an amazing place to start. And we'd be happy to provide that to anybody who's looking to get it. Or, we've got group sessions where folks can come and learn about the basics of that.
Yeah, we just have a few minutes left, Ryan, and I want to give folks some action items here. Let me first off, we were kind of talked about this earlier, and that is the Joshua. All right, I'm going to have to go back to Optics book. Here we go. But first thing is, and I'm going to ask you, I don't know if you want to start thinking about this, about any other educational resources, particularly like, let's say someone is using Google Analytics, right? And so, we just don't have enough time to talk about, how I'd really love to have someone maybe dive in and kind of trick out their Google Analytics. But if you can do that, man, it's going to be powerful. But Ryan, first off, here's the book, giving this away for free. This is at opticsbook.com. I'll put the URL on the screen here. Again, it's opticsbook.com.
Yep.
There we go.
Opticsbook.com. Yep.
Yeah, go grab this, register. It's not out yet. This comes out later, but go ahead and do that. And I think, Ryan, you're going to share some other free resources along the way until this one is available. And then as well, I don't know if it's on your EPS Optics website, or where else could people go and find maybe some free resources to, again, start thinking and start acting, with, these, all of these questions that you might have. It's like, what do I want to know? Why do I want to know that? And what can I do with that information? In other words, what processes can I set up based on having answers to those questions? And Ryan, I mean, this is so beautiful if you can set triggers for yourself, and you can say, for example, you get a Slack notification, when a client completes something, and it gives them a score based on how quickly they completed it. I mean, again, where there is no vision, the people perish, right? Where else can people kind of get some free, free resources from the work you guys do?
Yeah, absolutely. So they're welcome to contact me through LinkedIn is probably the best way. So you can look me up on LinkedIn. It's Ryan C. Weiss, and I'm on LinkedIn, happy to connect and some of those resources, the templates. One of the other things we haven't really talked about yet, Josh, I don't want to take too much, is our Optics 2.0 software platform. I mean, that's probably what I should have brought up and showed people today, but it is launching. The sandbox is looking amazing. I was just having a team meeting with my team earlier this morning, and the sandbox is looking really good. So in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be launching it live. And that, helping people start with these basic steps to be able to get into that. So the group training sessions that we're doing and things like that will all be there. So if people want to connect with me on LinkedIn, if you express some interest in that, our team would be happy to. I'd be happy to. Our team would be happy to make sure you get connected with those right resources, with templates, with micro trainings that we do. And then potentially, if you're really interested in digging in deeper, those group training sessions, or even moving it forward a next step.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Personalized, customized stuff. So
Yeah, how powerful that would be, Ryan. And listen, if you have if you have an operations manager or director or, VP of operations within your organization already, if you're the founder and listen, you got to stay focused on other stuff, at least get someone where this is what they obsess on. And by the way, Ryan, I put your LinkedIn profile just so folks, the header's going to look, you're actually just a little bit of more inception here. We're watching a live stream of us right now, except this is in something that happened a minute ago. So this is the correct Ryan Weiss Connect. Ryan, you're a good guy, very accessible too, very generous, in terms of resources and your help. And you do a lot, in the industry, certainly with your clients that you serve. So I just want to again, I don't invite live stream folks unless I know that they're just very collaboratively minded. And Ryan, I know that to be the case for you.
Well, thank you so much for having me on, Josh. It's been a pleasure. I've, as you can tell, I'm excited about it. I geek out about this stuff and just having a ton of fun with clients and our team and collaborators. So thank you for having me on the show.
Isn't it wonderful? I'm just going to point this out, right? Is that it's amazing. I think all of us, it's like we have things that we're so passionate about that probably 99.99% of the population is not that passionate about. And how awesome it is to surround yourself with people that are passionate about the things that maybe that's not innately kind of your thing. But, it's like when we have these super powerful friends in our network, right? And then we have these, as resources, we can collaborate, we can do great things together. That is it's such a beautiful thing. That's, obviously kind of why I love doing what I do in podcasting. Ryan, you also have a podcast, right?
Yes, we do. So Optics in Action, and we're showcasing business leaders with vision and clarity. And so it's really about if you or someone is interested in applying, love to have great business leaders who have vision, who have clarity, who are leading the scaling and really want to do something different. The impact that you can have on the alignment of your people and your process and integrating data analytics where it makes sense. We want to showcase business leaders. So we've got some great guests lined up. We're watching it. And Dr. John Knight, who's a rocket scientist, used to be building commissioner of the city of Chicago, business leader. He's one of our guests coming up. We've got some presidents.
Literally a rocket scientist.
Literally a rocket scientist. So I'm just having a lot of fun with the community that's growing around that.
Yeah.
And absolutely.
Yeah. So here is if you go to epsoptics.com, there should be a link real soon that says podcast. This show is just going live right now. But in the future, just, get connected with Ryan. Ryan, I'm sure you'll make an announcement when this goes live. But yeah, again, there's a podcast is about to go live. It's called Optics in Action, showcasing business leaders with vision and clarity. Congratulations on that. So, what I love to do, Ryan, is as a business leader, I'm the CEO, so I need to at least be aware of top level trends and things that are going on in even operations, although that's not my primary focus within my organization. Still, as a CEO, I need to be at least aware of kind of some of these bigger trends so that I can share that with the appropriate people within my organization. So congrats on the podcast launch. Again, that should be in all the podcast directories over the next several weeks. You'll see that there. And again, connect with Ryan on LinkedIn and Ryan, you'll let him know when that does go live. So Ryan C. Weiss, my friend, thank you so much for joining me on this Friday.
I appreciate it.